And at first, depending on how you grew up or your ideas of Christianity, that may sound a little unlike Christianity to you. But the truth is, as you may know, in the Bible, it is right to fear the Lord. It's fitting to fear the Lord, Old Testament and New Testament, for God's glory and for our good. And why? Well, in short, it is because God himself truly is awesome. Because God really is huge. Right? And really understanding that and feeling that as a good thing, because let's be honest, we in our sin and just naturally, we tend to think of God just as a bigger version of you and I, but just up there. Right? Sure, we know he's powerful. Sure, we know he's more perfect than us. But again, think about it. The reason that we sometimes tend to think that we know better than God, or the reason we sometimes put bad motives on God, or the reason we just tend to think that God isn't in control or anything like that, is because we just kind of naturally tend to think that God isn't that big, or that he's maybe a little flawed like us. We just so naturally, in our sin, we downplay God's holiness, his otherness, his massiveness. And on this, as a quick note for all of us, I do think, and you might agree, that this is a big part of Christianity, even in Bible-believing churches, that has been downplayed or underemphasized, especially more recently. Right? And you can see this in just the amount of Christian books and Christian music and the emphasis in those. Because we as a culture, and it's a good thing, we've really embraced God's kindness and love. That is good. And we really do see God as our friend, which is also good. But in all that, sometimes we have forgotten about the true grandeur of God. Right? The fact that God is infinite. Right? The fact that God not only created everything, but he is sovereign over everything. That is, the Bible says in Romans 11:36, for from him and through him and to him are all things. Or as the Bible says elsewhere, for example, that the nations to him are like a drop in a bucket. And so it does actually make sense that the first part of this promise here in the second pair is that God's people will rightly and in a good way come in fear to the Lord. That's a good thing.